Hi guys, welcome back to PS Let's Talk About That. I'm Chanel.
And I'm Priya.
That was good.
That's good. For anyone who's wondering, I really hate every single time I say my name. I inflect so hard. I go, I'm Priya.
I think you think that because you're like hearing yourself back and we're
Yeah.
self-critical of like our voices.
Right.
But like I've never heard you and been like, oh my gosh, Priya, I get it. You know?
Maybe now when you listen
No.
back, you'll be like, oh, I really hear that. But
No.
if anyone else has been listening and thinking that, I hope that this Priya did a little bit of a better job for you, because if you hate it, I hate it too. Just so you know.
It was cute. It was cute.
Thanks.
We love Priya. We love Priya and we love Priya. So this week, Priya and I got to go to an Ed Sheeran concert.
Yeah, it was so good. I actually loved it.
It was really good.
Yeah,
I love
really,
Ed.
really enjoyed it. He did a great job.
He killed it.
Yeah.
I mean, he kills everything he does.
He really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought he did a great job. It was a huge venue. That was my first time being inside of SoFi Stadium.
Same. It was massive.
It was massive. But I loved, like, just the videography that they did. The way, I feel like it was really nicely done. Something that you said earlier that I echo is I just wish there was a little more storytelling there.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to hear him talk.
Yeah.
Like,
same.
one, I love the sound of his voice. And two, he is just such a private guy.
Yeah.
That like to be in a show and like hear stories directly from him about maybe like the song he wrote or why he wrote it or
Yeah.
like whatever. Like I just want to hear anything about him. I'm
Yeah.
like, just tell me everything. Like anything and everything.
Yeah.
And I'll eat it up. Like yeah.
I feel like it would have been so nice in maybe a smaller venue. You
Yeah.
probably would get more
Yeah.
of that. I think that because it's SoFi Stadium, like,
Yeah.
he's probably thinking of like the demographic, because there's probably such a huge mix between
Yeah.
older and younger. I mean, there was a group of really young girls behind us,
Yeah.
and they were killing me during the concert. There were moments where I thought it was kind of endearing the way that they were responding to Ed, and then there were other moments where I was like, please, like, we're all trying to just enjoy this concert.
They just didn't have good concert etiquette.
They did not.
Like it was fine when they were like cheering and singing on.
Yeah.
It was rude when they were literally talking over the song
Yeah.
or over when he was speaking.
Yes.
And they were talking about like their own thing. Like it was like they forgot that they were at a concert.
Yeah.
And they were loud.
They were loud. That's
Yeah.
really what it was. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I understand having your own maybe private conversation with someone
Right.
if, for instance, something that he said reminded you of something and you want to,
Right.
like, talk to your, whoever
Yeah.
you're going with about that. Like, I get that, but I just feel like they were going out of their way to be very loud about it.
No, they
because
were
there were
being
just moments where I was like,
obnoxious.
please, like, I'm really trying to hear him. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to listen.
Yeah.
I want to know what he's saying.
Yeah.
And to your point, like, he's got like a really great energy about him that, yeah, like I would have loved to hear more stories.
Yeah.
I would have loved to hear,
Yes.
whatever I could from him. I mean, but I have to just look at the venue and think like, because it's such a
Right.
large scale thing, I'm sure that it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to make this a large scale type of event.
Production.
Yeah,
Yeah.
production. Whereas if it was in a more intimate area, I feel
Yeah.
like maybe he would talk more,
Yeah.
like, explain more or
Yeah.
do whatever. But
Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
right. It was such a big demographic. Like girls behind us were teens.
Yeah.
And then like sitting next to Sean was like this elderly couple.
Yeah.
They were very cute. Like
Yeah.
it was a huge range of like ages and like it was a good concert.
Yeah, I wonder if like that couple was really angry. There were people around us that would
Oh,
like
people
keep
were
turning
so
around
angry
and
with
like
those
looking
girls.
at those girls.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just felt really bad too in one sense, because I'm thinking to myself like they're very young.
Yeah.
I was like, where is your guardian?
No,
Like,
yeah.
I had such an old.
Where's your mom?
Like, yeah, I had like such a grown attitude towards it, because I was like, where is your guardian who should be giving you some etiquette right now to let you know how to behave during a
Yeah,
concert? Like
yeah.
you were too young. You
No,
know?
yeah, to be just out here by yourself.
Yeah, like I don't know.
It
was
always
just,
amazes me when I see like young, I sound so old.
Yeah.
When I see like middle schoolers out and about, like at the mall or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is your parent?
Yeah.
Like, who is watching over you? Like, you're
Yeah.
just all willy-nilly out here.
Yeah.
Like, no one's watching you.
Yeah. You realize how little you looked
Yeah,
at that time.
yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like the older I get, the the smaller I think that young people look.
They do. They look young.
They look so little.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, I guess I must have looked that little at that time, and I just don't realize it. In my head, I feel like I never looked that little.
Yeah.
But you must have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I for sure looked little because also I'm just little.
You're tiny.
So I'm sure.
Yeah.
And people looked at me like, oh, are you lost?
Yeah. You're like, I'm 30.
I had this conversation actually with Sean the other day. We were driving by Pierce, and we saw, I think it was Taft High School's track team.
Yeah.
Was running around Pierce. And there was no, like, coach. It was just, like, 15, kids running around Pierce. And, like, crossing the street, and I was just like, I don't understand schools. Like, you're not allowed to leave school to, like, go get lunch.
Yeah.
But, like, they're just going to trust you to, like, run off campus.
Yeah.
And, like, come back safely.
Yeah.
And nobody's watching
They're
you.
like, they'll be fine.
Yeah, like that, I just had, like, a moment, and I was like, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I was like, that makes no type of sense. But I was just like, wow, like, I'm old, because I'm sure, like, to them, they're like, chill
Times
out, lady.
are changing. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I do need to mention before we progress any further,
Oh, yeah.
I told David I would say it.
Tell
but
us.
he was
David's
super
qualm.
heartbroken during that concert because Ed did not perform I See Fire.
It's a good song.
It is a very good song.
Every time I hear it, I get chills. It's like
Yeah.
one of those songs that I didn't even watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
When I heard it.
Same.
And it was just like one of those songs that, like, you play loud in your car and, like, you feel everything in, like, your chest. Like, it's a good song.
Yeah, it is a great song. I do agree with that. I get that he was really heartbroken. And I think, honestly, in that venue, it probably would have sounded incredible.
Amazing, yeah.
So I can totally get why he was heartbroken, and I did need to mention it. He literally told me, like, several times
So
that he
cute.
wanted to make sure that everybody knew. He wanted to make sure that Ed knows, because Ed clearly listens to this
Ed,
podcast.
can you just, like, hook it up? Like, you should do
just
a
invite
private,
us, for, like,
a private little show and just perform.
Yeah, just your greatest hits.
Yeah, please. And tell us stories
Oh, I would love it.
if you're listening.
Yeah. Clearly you are. We already know.
I went to, can I tell a story?
Yeah, absolutely.
I sent the picture to you and David.
Mhm.
So I've watched Ed, this is my third time watching him.
Mm-hmm.
The first time, he did like he was promoting his new album, so he did like a little.
Oh, yeah.
He did like a little like meet up with fans, and he was going to perform some of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
At, I think it was the Americana.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I actually remember, even prior to the photo, I remember when you went to this. Yeah.
And so I went with Sean and my sister and
Yeah.
some friends, and we couldn't see him because there was like so many girls,
Mm-hmm.
and like they were just crowding around, and like we couldn't really see him. Like he was kind of performing like on a, I can't remember if he was standing on a car or something, and everyone was just kind of crowded around.
Yeah.
So we walked into a store. I can't remember if it was like Banana Republic or some store that they have there, just to get like a better look, like to go up, because it was like 2 levels, this store. And I was like, oh, if we go there, like that's glass windows, we can like maybe go upstairs and be able to actually see him perform.
That's smart.
So that's what we did. Like we went up there and we got to watch it from up there. And no one in the store like told us we couldn't come, because I think like everything was still open, even though he was performing.
Yeah.
Like all the stores, people were still shopping, blah, blah, blah. So no one said like, oh, you can't enter.
Yeah. Imagine shopping and like not paying attention.
I know, to enter. Yeah.
Just being like, well, I need my new beige top from Banana Republic.
Yeah. So then when he finished performing, we were like, okay, like let's head out. So we walk downstairs, so we're back at the floor level. And as we're like almost exiting, he enters the store because that's where he's gonna exit
Yeah. Incredible.
So
I'm so happy for you.
through. It was like, like we didn't even try, but it
Yeah.
was like so good timing. Like it was
Yeah.
just amazing. And so I'm like face to face with him.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like I'm just, I don't think I'm like I'm just struck. Like I don't think I said anything.
Yeah.
I think I was just like staring at him, and I like pull out my phone and I'm like trying to get a picture of him.
Yeah.
And as I'm pulling out my phone, his security guard like yells at me.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, like you can't be in here. What are you doing? And then like Ed Sheeran goes, it's okay, man, it's okay. And like he just kind of like looks at me and like smiles, and then they continue to walk him out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like the sweetest, like
Yeah.
he was
He
just
was
being
nice to
sweet.
you.
He was being so nice.
I'm so happy for you.
It was such a sweet moment.
Yeah.
Totally by accident.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't trying to stalk him, but it worked out.
Amazing. Isn't that like, I can understand why you would be in such shock too, because it's
Yeah.
like it's not planned.
Yeah.
If it was like a meet and greet or
Yeah.
something. But it's like, yeah, in your head, you're like, okay, I guess I gotta leave now.
Yeah.
Like, how sad. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, he's like in front of your face.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And I don't think the store knew he was going to exit there because I think they would have cleared us out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they were like, oh, like they were just like letting us like, you know, just sit in their store.
Yeah.
And so I think like maybe like, I don't know if he planned to walk through that store, if like they just happened. I don't know. But it was amazing timing. But anyway.
So happy for you.
But he just gets better. Like with each performance. Like we watched him last time he was on tour. When he was doing the Division.
Yeah,
the Divide tour.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
But I will say like this tour was, I think, like this performance was even better than that performance.
Yeah.
Like it was just, it had such good energy. He performed a lot of his music.
Yeah.
At the Divide tour because it was promoting the Divide album.
Right.
He only did the Divide album, which is a great album.
Right.
But like this was nice to just kind of hear like his whole body of work.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. It was really nice.
Yeah. That was like our big week event.
Yeah.
Do you have any other events that happened this week that you kind of want to break down, talk about a little bit?
I do. I have a really scary story about the beach. Like one of the scariest days of my life.
Let's talk about it.
We went to the beach, like it was like our Sabbath, and I was just like in a mood, and I was like, let's go to the beach. Like the beach always makes me in a better mood. Like the girls will get to play. Like it'll just like reset our day. So we go to the beach. And it was honestly like one of the most magical beach days in the beginning. We saw like 20 dolphins.
Wow.
And they were like jumping out of the water, like all the way out. Not just like, oh, you saw his fin or oh, you saw his tail.
Yeah.
Like the full body. Like so much so that like Noelle could see them. Because at first when we could like kind of see their tails, she's like, I don't know what you're looking at. Like I can't see them.
Yeah.
And then when they were like jumping out of the water, she was like, I saw that one. Like it was such a cool experience.
That's cool.
So it was gorgeous. Like, and I love the beach in September. It's not crowded.
Yeah.
The weather is still really warm, but it's not scorching hot.
Yeah.
And the water is like warmer. It's for some reason
It's
in
like the right
September.
time.
Yeah, it's like the best time to go.
Yeah.
So it was like really nice. The sun was setting. Like we were having just like great day. And me and Noelle were playing in the water. Like she loves to like chase the waves. Like they go in, she chases them, and then when they come out, she like runs really fast.
Yeah.
So me and her are like playing. And then all of a sudden, like I've never been caught in like an undertow. Yeah.
It's the worst.
So,
it is horrible.
Yes, so she gets caught in the undertow.
No.
So all of a sudden I just see her like fall in and she's like drowning.
Yeah.
So I like jump in and I'm just like I grab her and I catch her foot because now it's like taking her out. So I grab onto her foot and then like from behind me the water knocks me down. So I'm on the ground and I'm holding her foot, but her head is like still under the water and I'm under the water. Like I can't stand up to get her out.
Yeah.
But I just like I'm holding on so tight and I had a moment where it was like I got nervous like that she was going to slip because it was like it was such a strong pull. And I just like remember being like, no, like I'm not letting this foot go because all I could think was if she gets like, let's go. Like she's going to be like just drowning in the water.
Yeah.
And then like it's going to take me a couple minutes to go find her or catch her.
Your
like
mom instincts.
Yeah. So I'm just like holding onto her so tight. And then, and Sean was holding Rory like sitting on our beach blanket watching. So then he starts to run because I think he could like tell like they're like not
wrong.
coming out.
Yeah.
And so he goes and like he runs in and he has Roy in one hand and he's able to like grab Noelle by the arm and like yank her up.
Okay.
And so he like yanks her up and then I'm able to like let go of her so then I can like finally like stand up. But it was just the scariest like moment of my life because we're like literally just like both under this wave.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And all I could see is like her, but I can't stand up to pull her.
Yeah.
And I was just like like it was just the scariest like moment of my life because I was like she's going to drown. Like she's going to drown. Like I just can't let her go. And I was just praying like that a wave would soon like come like cuz it was sucking us out that I was like when is the wave going to like knock us back onto shore?
Yeah.
And it just like never like I don't know, it just felt and I'm sure like in reality it was probably only like a minute.
Yeah, but in that moment,
it just felt like we were never getting out of the water. Like it was the scariest thing ever. And she was crying. She came out of the water. She's like, I'm never going to the beach again. Like she's so scarred. And I'm crying and I'm like shaking and I'm like trying to like not make it like about the water because I'm like I don't want you to be scared forever of the beach. This was just like we just have to be better careful of the undertow.
Yeah.
I'd always heard about undertow, but I've like never been caught in the undertow before.
It's like wild because
Yeah.
it's like it happens very suddenly.
Yeah.
And it does make you panic
Mhm.
because it makes you realize how strong water is.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
Like, you
I
have
feel
absolutely
like you
no
chill
control.
in water, you don't really
Yeah.
think of anything, but like the second water like pulls
Does
its
you?
strength
Yeah.
on you, it's like you're like, I'm gonna die. Like there's
Yes.
just a moment where you're like, oh my god, like I can't get up, I can't fight against this.
Yes.
I'm literally just being like thrown in with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that too. We were on vacation somewhere when it happened, and it was like just scary.
Yeah.
And you're right, like it's maybe like a 1 or 2 minute thing. Like
Right.
it was just me when it
Yeah.
happened. So like I was able to grab my bearings or whatever, but like I can't imagine it with a kid because it's like,
Yeah, you're
A,
trying to
that's, like,
hold
your
on
flesh
to
and
them.
blood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so at that moment, I get it. Like, that's the most important thing to you. And you're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
what do I do? How do I fix
Yeah.
this? How do I, you know what I mean? Because it's true. Like, once
Yeah.
water fights you, it's like you realize I cannot fight
Yeah.
back. There's nothing I can do here.
Yeah. It's just the scariest thing ever.
I'm glad you guys are okay. I'm
I
glad
know.
Sean saw that.
And praise God that he was there, because I've taken the girls to the beach before, like, and like played with like Noelle running back and forth in the water while I'm carrying Rory.
Yeah.
So like, thank God he was there that day, because if
Yeah.
like that had happened while I had Rory in my arm,
Right.
like I don't think I could have held both of them.
Yeah.
And that was just like the scariest thought, to feel so incredibly helpless.
Yeah.
Like it just like
Yeah.
made it so real.
Yeah.
How quickly life can change. Like you think like, oh, this is harmless, it's normal, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then within like a second, something could happen, and if you're not available, like, I don't know, like it just made me feel so helpless, because I feel like I'm torn in two places. I don't know. It just was like, it made it very real how scary that was. And then like a couple days later, Sean, I was taking like a nap, I think, and Sean took the girls downstairs for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And they went down, you know where the office was that like me and you went to like talk? Okay. So they were in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And Noelle ran away from Sean. Like she was, I guess, running home.
That's so scary.
So then he calls me and he's like, hey, because like Noelle knows how to get back to our apartment from like downstairs. So he was like, hey, can you just like open the door? Like Noelle might be coming like home. I don't know where she ran to, but like I could only think of like the pool in our house. So like, go open the door. And as he's saying this, like now I'm panicked, because he woke me up from a nap to be like, I don't know where Noelle is.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I literally just like book it from like the bed to the door, and as I'm opening the door, she's like running up. And so I was like, okay, like she's here. She just walked. Like, thank God. But then like I'm yelling at her because like you can't just run all the way. So she took the elevator alone. She took like she just like ran straight from there and like all the way to her house.
Why did she even come back?
She said she had to pee.
Oh my gosh.
So she ran to come pee. Like she like passed me and ran to the bathroom, and then when she finished peeing, I yelled at her.
Did she like respond to you yelling at her at all? Was she like,
yeah, like
okay.
I
mean, like, I don't know, that sucks, because there's a beauty to having
no fear,
and like there's also just this like horrible reality of like you cannot, like
I'm trying not to crush her spirit, because I grew up with so much fear.
Yeah, same.
And so I'm trying not to like project that onto her.
Yeah.
But also I'm like, dude, you just can't like be running around like leaving us. And I'm glad you feel safe in our community, that like you know how to get home, blah blah blah. But still, like you don't know.
For sure.
So it was just like, but anyway, it was just like such a stressful like 3 days.
A horrible week.
Yeah, it was awful. And I just kept like, every time I feel like I close my eyes, I like all I see is her face drowning. Like that image, just like every time I close my eyes, I see it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Lord, I'm not prepared for this. Like, I don't know how parents do it.
Yeah.
Because literally when you have a kid, it's like your heart is outside of your body.
Yeah.
And so like I used to be like, I want 5 kids. But now that I have 2, I'm like, my heart is outside of my body 2 times. Like, I don't know if I can like emotionally handle it being outside of my body like 1 more time.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like so much like out of my control and danger, and like, I don't know. It's very scary.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Some parents, like, I give props to them, like, who can have multiple kids and who are just like not scared and like trust God fully and like, well, God will protect them. Like, I just like, I envy those parents.
Yeah. You made that point earlier of like the way that you grew up, and I think that's really like the difference. You know what I mean? Is like, I think if you're raised in a more appropriate sense of like having proper boundaries that are like taught to you correctly.
Yeah.
Because like the boundaries that I think our parents gave us are normal boundaries.
Yeah.
I think it was just done in such a way that was like, or you'll die.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, okay, like everything
Yes.
was always very extreme.
Yeah.
And so like I get that. Like there's
Yeah.
just, because I think about that too. Like that's a conversation that I've had with David before where it's like, okay, if we have kids,
Yeah.
one of the things that I'm scared of is, I was honest with him. I was like, one of the things that I'm scared of is that I'm going to really undermine your authority a lot. And I was like, and I'm scared of doing that because I feel like you as a man are going to have a little more of like an adventurous side with your child to be like, it's okay. Like let them learn or let them do this or let them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. And I'm like, no, like
Yeah.
I wouldn't want, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
100%.
I feel like I would want a lot of control.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know?
Yeah.
Like what you're saying too, where it's just like, I can sense that in me.
Yeah.
That I would want to have a lot of control and I would want
Yeah.
to be like, no, like I'm directing your steps. I'm making sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
Like I can't have you be in danger. Like
Yeah.
that scares me. Like the idea of that really, really scares me. So I understand
Yeah.
that because I'm like,
Yeah.
that's hard.
I've had to apologize a lot of times for
Yeah.
undermining Sean's authority.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I
Yeah.
had that conversation straight
Yeah.
out with David because I was like, look, like the more, and I think it's also like as a result of seeing the way that you guys are together with Noelle and with Rory, like there's just certain things, like when you tell me stories like
Yeah.
about like this last week, right?
Yeah.
Where I think about it in hindsight and I'm like, that's something I haven't thought of before,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
I'll like David and I will talk about it later. And like one day I just remember it hit me and I was like, David, I think I'm gonna undermine your authority a lot. And
I think
was
that's
like,
very like wise of you to like
Yeah.
be able to sense that and talk about that and like see that.
I kind of was just like, I was
Yeah.
like, look, like I know myself well enough to know I'll probably do this, you know?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like in those moments, like have some grace for me, I guess, but also just like it's okay to like pull me aside and talk to me about it
Yeah.
and be like, hey, like I love my kid just as much as you
Yeah.
do. Like you need to take a second. I need
Yeah.
you to trust me, you know, whatever it might be. But like I just think like, yeah, we did end up having talks about it. And it's
Yeah.
probably something we'll have to keep talking about, I'm
Right.
sure. Like,
Yeah.
you know. But
I think that's beautiful that you guys like talk about those things and think about those things. Yeah. I love that. I like
Yeah.
the thought of like being proactive, not reactive in parenting and in marriage.
Yeah.
But it's just like, so I think that's like really wise of you to be
Thank
like,
you.
hey, like this is a possibility.
Yeah.
Like I know myself well enough.
Yeah.
Like that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Just like I remember being like, oh no. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember, like, I honestly don't remember what it was, but I think like having you guys like in our lives so much has been like a blessing in that sense of like we get to see things and we're just like,
Thank you. But it's not a curse.
no.
You know what? We actually don't want any children.
We're good. No, but it's like it's good because it like I feel like we get like, I don't know. I don't want it to ever sound like I'm saying like you teach us a lot. Like I'm not like saying that in a sarcastic way.
No.
But it's true. Like I feel like there's a lot of times where just like witnessing you guys, I learned something about myself, or like I learned something about.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, like I see why she did it that way, or you know what I mean, whatever it might be. And so yeah, like it'll spur conversations between the two of us a lot too, which I do think is good because I'm like, hey, like you're right, like going into it kind of with a mindset of like I already know ahead of time my life's probably gonna be crazy is like helpful. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like it'll give him like hopefully more grace for me to be like like we've talked about this. I do know that this is her personality. I do know, you know.
Yeah,
whatever.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. Yeah. So like kind of what you were talking about, just like life lessons and takeaway and like pre-thinking about things, like being proactive. That just like reminded me of another, I think it was a podcast that I listened to, and he was just talking about being an intentional father. He like wrote a book about it, but I thought the podcast was really cool because he was something that like was
applicable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Applicable to me was he talked a lot about kind of having certain things like mapped out. So when you come to that stage of life with your kid, you kind of already know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
So he kind of was like just like off the cuff, like the first time they experience heartbreak, like you should kind of know what you're gonna say. The first time they experience maybe like racism. The first time, like even if it's not them like
just
being
like,
affected, but just like seeing it happen. Like the first time they'll be offered drugs, like what would you tell them the first time like they have like their first love or their first crush, like all of these things that like you don't want to mess those moments up, but like sometimes they come up very quickly, or they come up and then afterwards you have to explain, just to kind of like already know like this is the direction I want to go, or like this is how I want to introduce that to them. So, like, you're kind of getting ahead of the curve and not, like, trying to clean up after.
Yeah.
I just thought it was, like, a really cool parent advice.
Yeah, that is really interesting advice.
Yeah.
I think it's good, kind of outside of even parenting, just in general.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is such good advice to just be thoughtful.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think that we can ever map out our lives.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand that things happen and courses change and all of that stuff, but I just do see like there's such benefit in being able to really
like being intentional.
To be intentional and to just really like continue to have like thought-provoking moments in your own life where like you can witness something, like I was saying even with you earlier, right? It's like I can witness something and then I can have a takeaway from that where I can be thoughtful and I can be introspective and I can, you know what I mean? I think like that's sort of the phase that I'm in now, is just wanting to be a little more introspective and to be a little more understanding of, okay, how am I really feeling? How am I really thinking? How am I as a person? And how is this going to affect me in A, B, C, or D? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. Wisdom with Priya. we need to come up with like a
you have preach it, Priya.
Yeah, preach it, Priya. That's what I should just say. Preach it, Priya. Preach it, Ponce.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it felt like a very long.
Yeah. It sounds like a very just like exhausting week.
Yeah, it was like right after they were sick. So it was like we had a week of like no sleep and everyone was sick, and then I was like, okay, let's go to the beach and like change our moods. And we came back traumatized.
And you were like, we're never going to the beach again.
And in my head, when we got to the beach and we were having like the Dolphin show, like we love the beach, and I just felt like the beach was showing off that day.
Yeah.
Like especially with the dolphin, like it was just such a beautiful day.
Yeah.
And then it was like, psych.
We don't need you. You need us. We don't need you.
Basically.
Lured you in. It's like, that's what you get.
Yeah, that's literally how it felt. Oh.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
And just chatting with us.
Yeah. Thanks for just, I mean, we just recently started posting, but I can't really, I don't know. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful to the people that are listening to us and
like,
who are
like
responding,
reposted us, who texted us.
So sweet. I'm so grateful for it all. Please know that we are not taking it for granted. I think that, you know, we're going to take our time, obviously, to express our gratitude in other ways. But I just wanted to take a second on this one just to say, like, thank you guys so much. It's incredible to post things and to see, like, oh my gosh, like,
someone actually listened and cared and liked
people, it. Who came out of that with something. Like in our first one, we actually had several people who talked to us about overalls, which is so funny to me, and like, but
it was so sweet. It was so sweet, and it was like, like I don't think we can express enough like how genuinely like sweet that was and how much that meant to us.
Yeah, that like really genuinely touched my heart. That people were like, "LOL, the overall thing."
Yeah, it was really sweet. Like people have had really sweet reactions, and like we do not take that lightly. Like we're very overwhelmed with like gratitude to you guys. So thank you.
We're just gonna keep working. We're gonna keep pushing. Thank you so much for just enjoying these conversations and for kind of traveling down with us. I feel like we've talked about so many different things even just today.
Yeah.
But we just want to keep coming to you guys with more and more good content. If you ever have anything that you want us to deep dive into more,
let us know.
I'm a sucker for a good deep dive.
Yeah. You're in town.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
That's for another episode. But thank you guys so much. We love you very much.
We love you so much. So thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.